So I hope you are all having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. I am working with my Stay Colorful collection from Memory Lane, and I'm also going to be working with this Fashionista stencil. So one of my subscribers, Ashley, challenged me to create a boy layout using the Stay Colorful collection. And so that's what we're going to do today. I am taking this striped stencil, which is in the Memory Lane scrap shop, and I am putting some Jade Dilutions paint through the stencil. When you use Dilutions paint, you need the tiniest bit of paint for it to go through the stencil nicely. So you can see I have the paint, but then I also have like a piece of scrap paper to like wipe 90% of the paint off that is on my foam brush, because the foam brush just like sucks the paint in, and you only need like just such a tiny little bit. So I did this messy stripey background. I think it turned out gorgeous. And now I'm going to go ahead and start matting my photo and putting this layout together. So what I've done is I've pulled all of these dark teals and royal blues out of the Dear Lizzy 6x6 paper pad, and I'm going to use primarily those colors, but we are totally pulling in some of the oranges and some of the pinks from the collection as well. Another interesting thing is that we are going to be making a 12 by 12 layout for this page today, and I wanted to create, this is going to actually be in my youngest son's school album. So how cool is that? So what I did was I went through the collection and I noticed there were a lot of like ribbons and things that said celebrate or hooray. And then in the cut apart sheet there is this little like cut apart that has a cake on it, and it says celebrate all the tiny victories. And this was definitely a tiny victory, but one that totally deserved to be celebrated. So in case you don't know, I homeschool both of my children, and I'm just going to go ahead and add my journaling now and a date stamp. And while I do that and kind of get these layers and some of the other embellishments on the page, I'll tell you the story of the photos. So my children are homeschooled, and this was from December. So my youngest son had worked all day on his math midterm. They take midterms. They're hard. They're not easy tests. And there's usually about, I think, 100 questions on the test. So he had been working on this test all day. And it had been a marathon, not a sprint of math problems. So right around, I think like 2:30, 3 o'clock, he was finally finished. We did take a break for lunch, you know, normal kind of school day stuff we do. And then he went ahead and submitted his test, and he got 100% on his math midterm, which was huge. And he was so excited, and he was dancing around the room. And then I said, here, let me snap a photo for the scrapbook. And that was the pose he struck. So that's what we went with. But, so as soon as I saw that little cut apart sheet that said celebrate all the tiny victories, I was like, that's where I'm going with this page. So that's where we're going with this page. So I grabbed all of these little hooray and celebrate, and I have my journaling, and you can see here that I'm cutting apart this little square with the cake that says celebrate every tiny victory. And really that is where this layout came from. So I'm going to be pulling the colors from that little square, and we're going to incorporate all of those colors. If you are someone who struggles with random embellishments, notice the toucan up on the top. He is there strictly for cuteness. It has nothing to do with this page at all. There are lots of little icons on this page that totally have to do with the subject at hand. I used 2 of those beautiful die-cut words that came in the Dear Lizzy collection, and I pulled out lots of the blues and the greens, but then there's also these pops of yellows and pops of orange. And since I had that square that had like all the colors in it, I wanted to have something else that was multicolored. And so I decided on that little toucan because he just fit there. You know, he fit right there on the corner. He pulled in all of my design elements and different things. So what I'm going to do is I have kind of a cluster in the top upper right of my stenciling. I have the middle part there with the journaling and the photo and some embellishments, and then I have the bottom. And so what I'm going to do with the embellishments is I want to create a line that your eye can follow that goes from the top to the bottom. So this is a very vertical design. I love vertical designs. They're one of my very favorite to do, especially on a 12 by 12 page. I feel like it gives me a smaller palette on a 12 by 12 page, and since I am a primarily, since I tend to go for an 8.5 by 11 layout or a traveler's notebook spread, I tend to want to take the large 12 by 12 canvas and find a way to kind of shrink it down a little bit. And so a vertical design is a great way to do that. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to go ahead and adhere everything down, and then I'm going to start to embellish purposefully so that your eye can start at the top at the dotty paper and it has something to follow all the way down through the layout. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some staples to different areas of this layout just because I like them. I think staples are a really nice, just fun element to put on a little boy layout. I am, as you can tell, I'm not opposed to pink and orange and purple and all those colors on boy layouts, not at all. But I do think that when I'm scrapbooking my boys, I do just tend to want to have more saturated colors. And that's just me. I have nothing against, light pastel boy pages either. But for my boys, they're 17 and 11. And I like their photos, and I like, with the colors that they like to wear and the things that they like to do, I just feel like those deep saturated colors look better with my photos. So that's what I tend to use when I am scrapbooking them. And so since there were all these sherbirdy colors in the Stay Colorful collection, I did kind of go for those deeper, darker colors. Another color I love to use for photos of my boys are colors that have like lots of yellows in them. I feel like those colors go with them. It matches their personality. It matches their kind of style, the clothes that they wear, the things that they do, stuff like that. So I'm adding just little bits from both the sticker sheet and the chipboard. And right now what I want to do is I have enough multicolored elements that include the brighter oranges and pinks from the collection, and now I want to add little pieces or pops of those colors and make sure that all the colors are distributed. I don't want this to be a monochromatic layout, so I'm definitely looking for things that are those pink colors and the orangey colors, because we do have that very saturated dark color, the jade that I used for my background. We have that bold, bright, saturated blue color, and now I want to spread some of those lighter pinks and those lighter yellows. So you see that I added the chipboard 6 to the bottom of the page. That's because my son is in 6th grade, and as I do these albums, this will go in his school album, and I try really hard on every page that I do for both of my boys' school albums that somewhere on the page is a number that tells what grade they're in, because we do homeschool, and I want to make sure that when I put these into albums, I have the right year that they're in school with the right photos in the right part of the album. And another thing is that I like that look. I like the continuity it provides through their albums. So I added some puffy stickers. I added some of those little ribbons. I'm going to add balloons here at some point, because I feel like above that white arrow that I added, there is like this dead open swath of this dark, dark blue, and I want to break it up. I'm not quite sure what I want to use to break it up, and I feel like I have exhausted my word options, so I don't want a word. I need an icon of some kind that kind of ties together and makes it work. And so what I decided is on these blue balloons, and you can see my son's hand. That's my son that's in the photo, and he was beside me, and we were talking about the layout and what we were going to add to it. And this layout is Logan approved. So there you go. The last thing I'm going to do to this layout is add some splatters of Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine. This is just from my stash, and I just wanted to pull in a little bit more of the gold. I have that gold hooray at the top, and I have a couple other gold elements in this page, and I just want to add just a touch more. So I hope that this video today can help you to see how you can take, any colors and pull together layouts for pretty much any photo using this collection. I think it's a very, the more I work with it, the more versatile I really do believe that it is. So have a wonderful day today. I will see you again tomorrow with a brand new process video, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Make sure don't forget you can use my code Sara20 for 20% off your order at Memory Lane Scrap Shop, and you can find the link to the store below. Bye!